welcome to Q&A with S&A. I'm Andrea.
And I'm Shane.
And welcome to the first episode for 2025. It's really exciting to be back in the podcast studio and ready for a huge 2025.
Yeah, and welcome to any new listeners that are tuning in for the first time in 2025.
Today we have Daniel in the podcast studio. You will have, if you are a subscriber to Plant Grow Reap, you will have heard Daniel not only participate in podcasts in the past, but host podcasts. So he is very familiar with the setup here. Only this is the first time that we have ever interviewed Daniel. So other than the time when he walked in the door almost 9 years ago when we gave him an interview to become a team member at Aintree Group. So thank you for joining us today, Dan.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure to be here.
We have got Daniel in the podcast studio with some news, and our clients probably already know the news because Daniel would have told them. But Dan, after nearly 9 years with Aintree Group, has decided he's going to move on, and we thought it would be a really good opportunity to sit down with Dan and talk to him about his experiences with Aintree Group. And more excitingly, about the reasons why he's decided to move out of his position here with us and onto something that could be really, really exciting. And I hope it's really exciting. But thank you for giving us the time today because it is busy when you finish up at a job, and you will find out how busy it is when you have to start tidying things and wiping your desk and making sure that it's all where it needs to be. But we're going to talk about you today. So let's just hope that I don't do my usual mum thing and cry, because I will, and I always do. So let's be prepared for that. I don't know if Kane has some tissues in the background, but that's okay. Let's start with the very beginning. So you came into Aintree Group when we were in our office in Kew. It was a tiny little office, and we've got photos of how we used to share phones over the top of the thing because we didn't know how to transfer calls between our lines. That's how it used to be in the olden days. And it's a pretty funny story about how you came in, because it wasn't necessarily your choice to apply to a job at Aintree Group, was it, Dan?
Oh, to an extent, I guess. I think it was my mum would tell me that you met her through a Twitter network, I believe, or a business Twitter kind of network back when it was called Twitter. And there was the opportunity, and then I think you became friends, and I remember that there was I think you made a post on Facebook, which I guess goes to show that you've always been big on community, which I think we'll get into later, but. A post looking for some administration assistants who are maybe studying business, commerce, accounting that wanted to apply. And then, mum straight away sent it to me, and she was like, oh, you really should do this. And probably just being me back then, not really taking many opportunities where they came. I was maybe a bit hesitant, but eventually got on the phone. And I don't even know if there was a proper interview. I think it might have just been over the phone. Yeah. And maybe my mum had obviously made a good impression on you. And then, I guess from there I became an administration assistant at Aintree Group. So,
And you, administration assistant, we don't even have administration assistants anymore at Aintree Group because things have evolved and we change, call things different names and stuff like that. But at the time, it was pretty basic stuff, wasn't it? Like we, still had, I reckon when Dan started with us, we still had a franking machine to do.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Like it was pretty old.
A franking machine?
Yeah.
And Dan's
like, I don't even know.
Machine, yes.
For those older listeners in the audience, you know what it is, but a franking machine is a thing that gives you you put
stamps.
Labels and it creates stamps, labels for the stamps.
Gotcha.
So it was that was one of the exciting things about setting up Aintree Group, was that we could buy a franking machine. I was really excited about it, and Shane was just like, "Are you serious? Yeah. We don't have one anymore."
Yeah. So when you started with us, what were you studying at the time?
So I was studying economics and finance at RMIT.
Yeah.
It was a 4-year course which included a year of being, an intern at a firm that did eco and finance work. But I wasn't really, I didn't really enjoy the theory that I was learning at uni. It was, economics and finance, potentially, kind of dry stuff. then I got the part-time job at Aintree Group, or the casual job. So I didn't end up doing the extra year because I didn't want to lose the job I had at Aintree Group and a couple other casual jobs, and just wanted to get the course done so that I could, potentially work at Aintree Group full-time. Studying economics and finance. Didn't really have any plans to do accounting during that time.
That's what I was leading to.
But working at Aintree Group, and then I think it was probably at the start of my final year of uni, we had a meeting. I think you guys, offered me the job, I think back then, or said, look, it's open if you want to do it. And then, I chose some accounting electives, looked into, CA and what I had to maybe do for that. And then, went through that, finished uni, and then next year, I think January maybe 18th, I was 22nd or something, and then started as a full-time accountant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The decision, how much influence do you think, obviously because we said to you, if you do accounting, you've got a job here, and that makes life a bit easier, doesn't it? How much, because Mum was the one who essentially said, Daniel, you need to go and work at Aintree Group. Here you go, here's a good job, and these people are good people. How much influence did Mum have on, come on, Dan, do the right thing here. It'll be a really good pathway. Like I guess what I'm getting at is for the younger people listening and people who may not be thinking like, mums and dads can be pretty influential, can't they, when it comes to like stability and...
They can, for sure. Do you mean in terms of accepting like a full-time role?
Yeah. And switching into something that maybe wasn't something that you would have thought of.
That's the part I'm curious about. Maybe and reflecting on it, was it the right decision at the time as well? Or did you feel like you were coerced into it more so than making the decision for yourself?
Yeah, no, good question. No, I definitely don't feel like I was coerced into it. I don't really have much memory of my parents really trying to influence one decision or another.
Yeah.
I think they knew that I wasn't too intrigued in the economics and finance industries, and wasn't that eager on applying for jobs there.
Yeah.
I believe it was mostly my own decision. I enjoyed working at Aintree Group. I enjoyed the people I worked with. I think your vision back then, and how progressive you guys were, and that the company was growing. I believed, Josh was working at the time, so and Chelsea was as well. I think.
Yeah.
There were a few more younger people there.
Yeah.
Not heaps at the start, I saw accounting. I was like, okay, this is something I can actually help a lot of people with as well. It wasn't just a job I was just going to kind of sit in and work for a company and in the economics and finance field and have no relation or connection to people.
Yeah.
I kind of just said, why not? Aintree Group seems like a really good company. Don't mind the accounting work. Didn't really like the economics and finance work, and just said kind of just said let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Really, which sounds funny looking back, but obviously it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, look, I think the point is that you can have one idea when you leave school about what you want to be doing, and then at any time in the future you can go, actually, that's not what I thought it would be, or whatever, and it's okay. And I think you and I have had lots of conversations about that over the years as well, that it's okay to change course just because for any reason at all, actually. You are a pretty creative person outside of being, a number cruncher. Or anything to do with any of those
very
things.
stereotypical.
And I'm deliberately being stereotypical with this part of the conversation. In recent years, your mum and your sister are both very creative as well. Your mum incredibly so. And in recent years, when we've done, more creative community-related activities at Aintree Group, you have shown a creative side of yourself that I think other people in the organisation have gone, oh, wow, look at what Dan can do. How much of that is like, do you think that at some point you may have said to yourself, gee, I'd like to be a graphic designer, I'd like to be an artist, or I'd like to do something like that? And I guess what goes through your mind now when you think you're about to start a new journey, how much of that is going to be a creative element?
Good question. The family definitely is creative. Even Dad, he doesn't really show it often, but he can be as well. He always used to be a really good drawer. Which is rare. No one probably knows that about him. But yeah.
Sorry, Mike. You've just outed your dad as a creative person.
Yeah. Maybe not fashionably, but in other ways. But yeah, I think the creative side has definitely come out of me. I'd say the last maybe 5 years, and maybe that's just me growing up a little bit more and figuring out what I enjoy, what I like. Relating to my hobbies and that kind of thing. And I think I guess Aintree Group allows people to be creative where possible. There's obviously, to an extent, there's some creative accounting, but more in the other ways.
You're not allowed to say that.
Within line, of course. But even just like the casual Fridays and, our dress code isn't too strict. It's fairly reasonable and people can kind of wear what they want, express themselves, be comfortable in who they are. So I think that's definitely helped. I've definitely always looked forward to casual Fridays because I've been able to, I guess, dress a bit differently to the normal businessy casual. But it definitely probably has impacted where I'm going to go in my future and being a bit more creative. I did do graphic design for my work experience at school.
Yeah.
So back then probably didn't even think about business too much. There was probably some little moments here and there over the journey where I thought, oh, maybe graphic design, like mum does that. Maybe I'll be good at it. It looks fun, etc. But never came to anything, or it never lasted more than a week or two.
Yep.
With my impulsive thoughts. I'm big into gaming and even just art and fashion lately, but more in particular gaming. And that's something that, really I've been getting into a lot lately. And noticing, the creative side of that industry, and even just delving into, the professional side of it, which we might get into a bit later. Yeah. I just love being creative, and it allows people to be who they are, and really show them their true selves, and express themselves, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Your accounting and business services journey is about to come to an end. What is the biggest thing that you have learned from being part of that through the entire part? Because you've had the chance to be the person who's sticking labels on envelopes to the person who's actually like day to day dealing with client queries on everything. What's the biggest thing that you've gained out of that? It doesn't have to be business related either.
And I think a major benefit of working in Aintree Group is that there's been so many other things that have been emphasised, not just the business or tax side of things. But I think just being curious is probably one of the bigger lessons or things I've learnt and have really tried to drum into my brain as best as possible. Also in my personal life, but even at work, and just I guess you two have always been that. Being very curious and progressive and wanting to try new softwares or change things up for the better. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned, and just seeing the rewards from it. There'll be teething issues in the meantime when you change something, but you hope that the people that you work with and you hire can adapt and they're dynamic and can see the rewards that come from being curious, I guess.
Yeah.
And just constantly learning and the benefits that come from that. And also how it shows to your clients and your network. And it obviously just shows that these people are willing to keep learning, and they're not just going to sit there for 20 years and be the same kind of accountant or be the same kind of person that doesn't progress and change. Yeah. Probably that. Definitely a lot of things I've learned. It's always hard to remember and try and recall things. But I'd say that.
So again, some of our listeners are people who are at different stages of their career journey. If you were going to give a piece of advice to yourself, let's not go all the way back, because when you started, you really were just a baby and had no idea what you were doing. If you were to say to the person that you were 5 years ago, or even post completing your CA qualification, what advice would you give yourself now, if you were, knowing what you do now, about where you are at?
That's a good question. I'd say just to throw yourself in the deep end as best as possible and get out of your comfort zone. That's something I think I've just learnt in life and at work, that getting out of your comfort zone is where you grow the most, especially at work, and just don't hesitate to ask as many questions as possible, whilst also learning from your mistakes and not asking the same questions. I guess going back to being curious, throwing yourself in the deep end and learning to fail at things.
Yep.
Because as we learned from Cameron Schwab recently that the failures are just bruises, really, and you'll heal from them, you'll learn from them, be better.
Yeah.
So I'd say ask your bosses, your managers to throw you in the deep end more, so you can just learn and be a sponge, go into client meetings, meet people, develop your soft skills as well, and really just make use of the resources that you have or potentially can have available.
What are some tools that you would say that you would have needed as, in your early 20s, and you think to yourself now, gee, if I had have had that tool in my toolbox of things that I can help myself with, like, it's hard to throw yourself in the deep end. And if you're a 22-year-old and you're not really sure of yourself, and what do you do now that helps you put yourself into a better mental headspace to create that space for yourself?
Honestly, I'd say use other people to your advantage. And what I mean by that is, for example, YouTube. Like when I'm not feeling as motivated or I need some help being more confident or putting myself out there, I'll just go watch a YouTube video of someone telling me to motivate myself, right? Yeah. Or speaking to someone who normally motivates me, putting yourself in the environments that motivate you. That's what I would say mostly. Yeah. And whether that's, even organising a meeting with your manager or, me organising a meeting with Shane when I really want to go hard on some work or put myself out of my comfort zone and maybe be more motivated one day, for example. That's what I would say. Yeah. Use the people around you to your advantage. Yeah. Not take advantage of them, but use their skills.
Absolutely.
To your advantage. Yeah. Because we're obviously not always mentally strong and ready, or we have our days where we're not feeling great. But that's why I believe that's why you make a lot of good friends in this world and people that can help you. Yeah.
I think it's really important. And it's an important lesson that I've learned, and I'm not anywhere near the start of my career journey. I'm at the complete opposite end of it. But it's okay to be vulnerable. Like, it's okay to say to somebody that you trust that you're not feeling it, and that you need support and whatever. And that's a really important thing. And I think from the perspective of you and I working together for the time that we have in such a close way, is that it's really important that if you ask, like you said, lean on people for help, but it's really important that it's a two-way and really trusting relationship that you can that you can say to them, this is what's going on in my world, and that they will not just be like, meh, that they'll take it on board. And I think, we're pretty lucky in our organisation that we've got a lot of people that are really good at being the sort of people you can lean on, but then also being the sort of people that bring that it's okay to be vulnerable and okay to talk about things that are not necessarily business-related, comfortable things to talk about.
For sure.
And it's been really important for us to have you involved in our Culture Champions group, because it's really brought an element of, it's not just coming from Shane or I. These sorts of conversations have to be had by younger people in the organisation like you, Dan, and I think you've had a really big impact on what we've done with that, and it's a really big side of things. We will obviously talk about it as there's questions in my list of things that we need to cover. Let's talk about what's going to go on next. And, you might not know. It's okay for you to say, I don't know, I'm going to take a few months off and I'll come back to you in episode 4 down the track and tell you what I'm up to. We'll get you to come back in and talk about whatever the exciting thing is that you decide to do. But we'll take it back a little bit and say, what are the most important, what are the highlights? It's been 9 years with Aintree Group. What are your highlights?
So when I look to respond to questions like this, I always just think of the people, to be honest, and the events and things I've done with all the people at Aintree Group, really. That's always what stands out to me. And I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Aintree Group is always focused on hiring people that will fit in. And obviously you can't can't have a strike rate of 100%. But most of the people that I work with, if not all, are really good people. You can get along with them, you can create relationships, you can be vulnerable. And I think, that's just really what has made probably a lot of the memories good or better. A lot of the events that we've done, they're obviously memorable too. Everything I've learnt. Like I think I said probably in my resignation letter that tax almost feels like it's something on the side that I've learnt because of everything else that I've learnt from you guys and from everyone else that I've worked with. But in terms of events, I guess, the 18th birthday we had at ECLA, that's always pretty memorable where everyone got to dress up a little bit more.
It wasn't the usual casual Friday.
No,
it wasn't.
But wasn't the usual business casual
Yeah,
either.
it was black tie.
It was
black tie.
There were a few best dresses out there, but I won't name them.
Best or worst dress? Is that
Worst
what you're
dress,
saying?
No.
Move on.
Can't give people too big of a head. But that was really good. Even just, I guess how the culture's grown over the years. And obviously that relates to who you guys have hired as well. And just growing with others in the business. For example, Joseph, Chelsea, and really just going from young babies to professional adults now. So I'd say those.
I mean, I think the three of you were probably teenagers. I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure maybe pretty close to being teenagers when you started with us. So it's a pretty different place now anyway, isn't it? Like it's different from when you started and in terms of, I guess, as we've grown as a business and as the team has grown and as the spaces that we've had to fill have grown, we've been able to do more fun stuff. Like you can't really do the Aintree Open tennis tournament with 4 people.
Exactly.
we can do those fun events because there's more of us and the critical mass of having people.
So. We could almost field a football team in the Chartered Accountants football day now.
I think that'd have to be navy blue, right?
That is not going to happen. That is one thing I'm not going to miss about you, Dan.
The Carlton.
I am not going to miss the Patrick Cripps that you've got stuck on your window. Like I'm not missing that one.
I think Jacob won't miss it either.
No.
Sorry to all the Carlton fans.
And it's been, I suppose, just me reflecting on it too. So when you started with us, how many people we had, which would have been less than 10?
I think there might have been 12, 13 all up.
Okay.
Yeah, including casuals and part-time.
And now we're up to about 53-ish, something like that. I don't know the exact number, but you've seen
4X.
You've seen a lot of change in that time. You've moved offices twice, so Kew, then Camberwell, and then Hawthorn East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's moved twice, but had 3 offices, different offices.
Yeah, so 3 different offices. So you've seen that evolution as well, and
we've gradually moved further and further away from Dan's house.
Yeah, that's true.
So we've made him travel further.
Yeah. Well, this one's slightly closer. Anyway,
marginally.
Maybe. It depends on which way you go. Yeah. So you've seen quite a lot of change, and you've grown with that as well, and you've adapted to that too. And so it's been an interesting ride,
For sure.
and you've been a big part of it. We've been going for 20 years, and you've been here almost half of that. So so it's a big milestone. Yeah,
it is.
There will be a huge gap to fill, and we're not going to fill it. There's no possible way. So you just have to say, okay, that's not happening. We can't fill the space that Dan is leaving behind because sometimes you don't need to either. It's different, whatever happens in the future, we won't be trying to find another Dan because there isn't one. So having said that, we still, have you attached to Aintree Group in many other ways because Mum is someone who I always go to for design work and Laura is still with us and Laura, we will be tying Laura to her desk and saying that she can never leave. So she's not allowed to do what you're doing to us. I'm saying that as don't do this to us, Dan. No, it's fine. What was it? So I kind of know a little bit of the answer to this because you and I have talked about it before, but what was the catalyst for you to say, this isn't what I want to do right now? And it's one of those things as well that you can say that you don't want to do it right now and then you might come back to it, in 10 years' time, and that's also okay. But right at this point in time when you walked into my office and you said, this is what I want to do, what was the catalyst for that, if there was one?
Yeah. No, I think there definitely was. And yeah, it goes back to, I guess my creative side and just me always trying to focus on, my life in general and my hobbies and what brings me joy. And over the last couple of years, I had tried to focus on that. And yeah, like I said before, focus on my gaming a lot more. And I'd always, and even just art and fashion, all that kind of stuff. And I'd been attending a lot of events in those spaces. For example, I went to a fashion show one time, went to a lot of gaming conventions where there was a lot of art and artists and amateur artists and that kind of thing which was, I just always found so much joy in attending. And then essentially I found out about this event in Sydney, South by Southwest, which was a major convention worldwide convention for tech, gaming, music and film, and was more for professionals. And I guess, it wasn't really accounting related, hence I took annual leave and treated it more like a holiday. But, Shane and I did chat about, potentially bringing back some clients and being reimbursed if that was the case. Honestly, I went to this event hearing a lot of good things, but also advertising myself as a tax accountant that worked for a great firm in Camberwell in Melbourne, hoping to maybe bring back a client or two. Wasn't going there as a salesman, but hoping to bring back a client or two, and even one day maybe, create more of a client base in some of those creative industries for Aintree Group. It wasn't at the front of my mind, but it was something that I thought of. And I guess at this event, I started just meeting a lot of people, going to a lot of talks of professionals in the industry. Did focus on the gaming side of things, and I guess had a bit of a revelation and just thought, wow, I think I really just want to be a part of this industry. Just really like the people that are in it. The joy it brings the creators of the games and the passion they all put in and the care and seeing the rewards in their faces when it does well. So that really just made me think, and I met a lot of people that ran their own business as well. And I kind of just thought, damn, like now I think now's probably if I was to ever do something and really push myself and get out of my comfort zone, stop being, I guess, comfortable as an employee at somewhere I've worked at for nearly 9 years, now's the time. And it was obviously, very difficult for me to even think of that, and even got emotional at times just thinking about it and thinking, shit, is this sorry? I just swore.
It's okay. We swear all the time, Dan.
Pardon the French. Okay. I thought, shit, is this really like going to happen? And do I have the balls to do this even? And really just maybe, I hate using the word passion, but maybe work in an industry that I'm passionate about and I find a lot of joy in. Because there wouldn't be probably many other things that would make me want to leave Aintree Group as well. So I just started doing, I guess, a little bit of planning and thinking and just talking to the people I knew. And even at the event, I just identified there was, I think, a lot of opportunity for business-minded people with accounting experience in the games industry.
Yep.
And I know it's not, I'll probably be taking pay cuts. I'll probably, it's very volatile. There's not always a lot of money in it. But I'd probably have been fortunate enough to not always have to worry too much about money, or maybe it's just a personal thing. It's not the biggest thing for me. And I really just thought, crap, now's the time. I still live at home, don't have a partner, I haven't invested in anything yet, have savings. And I thought about all the backup plans and, I could go back to tax or maybe Aintree Group if everything went to, to crap.
Yep.
And I guess, that was really just the catalyst. It was obviously a very hard decision, I think. Coming into the office, I put the resignation paper down and I couldn't even bloody speak. I choked up instantly. I thought I'd maybe get a few words out, but I didn't even. And I'm kind of dreading my last day here and saying goodbye to everyone, but let's not think about that too much yet.
So I think it's important for you to understand that your last day as an employee in the office is probably very different to not ever seeing anyone again, and understanding that Chelsea has a big long list of former team members who still love to come along to events that will always get invited to those events. So while it might be I'm not going to see you every single day for 8 hours of the day, it will still be Daniel will be at the Aintree Open every year because otherwise we don't have anyone else who really plays tennis.
A couple, but not
yeah. Without you in that event, it's probably not going to be quite the same event. So we might still outsource our Aintree Open to Dan to organise. When you talked to us about why you'd made the decision to move on and what your plans were next, you mentioned to us that you wanted to do a bit of travel, and last year you did get the opportunity to go and hang out with some mates in some fun places around the world. So if you haven't already spoken to mum and dad about how much you're going to be away in 2025, maybe don't listen to the podcast, guys.
They might be happy with that. Get him out of the house.
Maybe they've decided what to do with Dan's room already.
I think Laura's more happy about that.
Yeah.
So where is the bucket list of where Dan wants to travel in 2025?
Yeah, so definitely, part of the decision was to take a couple of months off, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. My parents weren't too happy about that. They were like, "Oh, you haven't got a job lined up. Why are you taking time off? You're 28." We never did that. But I think, I think I'll be the person when I get to, say, 40 years old, I'll really regret not traveling. So I'm choosing to do it now and making, investment sacrifices for that. Yeah. I'll probably be taking at least, I think, 3 months off. There's some family stuff in between that I have to be in Melbourne for, but I have booked in Japan for a couple of weeks, mid-Feb, which is great. Japan's one of my favourite places in the world, and I'm very happy to be going back with a good friend. And then I think April I'm going to be doing a solo Europe trip,
Great.
and just getting that out of the way. And again, putting myself out of my comfort zone, throwing myself in the deep end to an extent. Maybe staying in some hostels, which for me is probably a lot because I'm a bit of a princess at times.
You might want to talk to Emily about that before you do that.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to. Just really traveling the world as much as I can, without depleting my savings too much, because you have to come back with something. Some people might argue you don't have to come back with anything, but I want to come back with something. Fortunate enough to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's
so looking
awesome.
forward to it. Yeah.
Is there an itinerary yet, or are you just going to wing that, or how are you going to do it, Dan? Are you going to be organised, Dan, or are you going to be like just wherever the wind takes me, Dan?
Yeah, I hoping to get a bit of a hybrid. Might be difficult, but what have I got? Roughly drafted it up the other night for the first time, all very last minute. Again, because this wasn't really. I wasn't planning to resign this soon or travel this soon. It, like I said, all just kind of aligned well. But heading to the UK first, I believe. There's actually, I was just researching it the other night. There's actually a London Games Festival on when I was planning to go. I was like, crap, I have to attend that, right? Again, I was a little bit nervous about it. I don't know why, but I was like, I have to attend that. Just learn and meet people. But UK, so I might have to get some advice off you guys. I know you have been a fair few times. Germany, Netherlands for Amsterdam, because you have to tick that off. Where else? Prague, Vienna, maybe Switzerland as well. And then Croatia. I'm probably going to go on a Croatia sail. Because I feel like I'd want to do that before I get a bit older, or maybe too old for it. But really just solo and just meet a lot of people. That's probably one of my better skills in just socialising and meeting people. And that's where I've probably reaped the most rewards, just meeting people, connecting, developing connections. And that kind of thing. But wouldn't be against winging it to an extent, but I feel like it could also be hard. I don't know. We'll see. But
wing it. Just wing it.
Wing
You'll
it.
be right. The best laid plans often go astray, is that term?
Yeah.
But just, have some basic plans, but then just
leave it open.
You might find, I love this place. I'm going to stay a bit longer, or someone who I've met told me I should go here. So then you deviate. So but you've so many opportunities and so many options there. Very fortunate to be able to go anywhere really, and I almost worry about not spending enough time somewhere, and and you'll always find accommodation. So
that's true.
So it won't be an issue.
And what vlogging camera have you bought to take on with you? Have you asked Kane for some advice on what you need to take and what little puffy lapel mic you can walk around? Please don't walk around with it like this, because I reckon Kane will probably have a go at you if he sees it with you in hand. Make sure you've got one that clips on. I think it's probably important.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Look, I wouldn't put it past myself.
Sorry, but I'm thinking about what your future might look like, Dan, and you need a YouTube channel and you need to be putting it online.
Yeah, I have thought about doing a podcast one day, but look,
this is a really good start. Yeah, it's a really good start.
It is a good start.
Yeah.
I think Japan, there's some areas that are actually known for retro and digital cameras.
Yeah.
So I might even pick something up there. Have thought about getting a GoPro, but I worry that I'll get home and then just leave it and not do anything with it.
So that's why you need to talk to Kane before you go, so that he can give you the best advice. For those of you who are listening to the podcast and watching us, and hopefully at some point Kane will introduce himself, but we are really lucky at Aintree Group to have Kane Ellis with us, who is doing a film degree at the moment and knows all about the stuff. So he will definitely give you the advice that you need.
That's a very technical term.
It is. That is why we have Kane, because I know about the stuff he knows about the actual things. Kane ably assists alongside our amazing marketing team. So I think you need to get some advice from your sister, who is a social media coordinator, and utilise the people in your life and make sure that you get it online. If you want to be in that industry, I think that's my parting bit of advice for you is to talk to the people and get it online. I think Shane and I watch like a gazillion YouTube channels of people who travel and people who just talk about what they're doing in, when they're traveling. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this is so cool. We literally just watch people walk around the streets going, oh, this is really fun, and oh, hi, how are you today, and stuff like that. And it's burgeoning industry of fun stuff that old people like us watch.
And young people like
but we watch it. That's what we do. For our chill out time is to watch other people travel and experience the world.
So a few months away, and then back here, and then the next step, whatever that may be.
Yeah. So no, I think I wouldn't say I have plans, but next step. Hopefully will be and I'll probably do this before I travel, is just start my own business as a sole trader.
We can organise set up for you, Dan.
True.
Do you need any tax advice on that? Or
maybe I might at some point.
I've got a really good accountant I can refer you to.
Yeah.
True.
Look in the mirror. Yeah.
But hopefully I guess just be a sole trader and be a business consultant doing a little bit of everything, whether a lot of that's bookkeeping and BAS stuff. Whilst I'm trying to get my foot into the industry and help a lot of the smaller game studios where they might only have 4 to 5 people, if that, and they just need some business advice here and there, depending on what I'm allowed to give and what agent registrations I have. So I'll do that along the way, and then hopefully I'm looking to get a part-time job as, I guess, a financial accountant, finance manager, financial controller, again, for a games company that maybe only needs me 3 days a week, so that I can hopefully focus on my own brand and business on the side. That's the loose plan at the moment. But what I'm really just going to do is put myself out there everywhere, online, on Discord, where there's a lot of gamers and business gamers there and studios, contact and connect with as many people as I can and just take every opportunity that I can get. I think I have a lot of faith in I think it might sound a little bit cocky, but faith in my personality and my ability to connect with people, and I've learnt how to show value as well a lot from Aintree Group, and not, I guess, discount myself. It's obviously always hard to be completely confident in yourself and your service, depending on what you're giving. But really just take every opportunity that comes. I even sometimes worry that there'll be some overseas opportunity or interstate that comes up and I have to make a decision of leaving or moving temporarily, as if I have something, But
that's okay. Hey, if that comes up, hey, what a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're young and
somewhat. No.
And as you said before, failure is not the right word in this one, but making mistakes or not being the right thing is okay.
Yeah.
Because that's part
You
of
have to.
part of your development and part of where you ultimately get to.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I really just want to use the accounting experience and everything I've learned. Not necessarily focus on tax, but more the financial reporting and business management, that kind of stuff, and just help people really develop connections with potential clients and grow my brand and network in the games industry that brings me a lot of joy. I believe. So
And the good thing with that too is that your accounting experience and your chartered accountancy, so doing the CA program, etc. It's adaptable to go into these areas as well. So it's not just a public practice type working in an accounting firm or working in a big corporate. It's needed in these areas as well, and it gives you a good base in which to be able to assist those in the gaming industry and to develop your career in that area as well.
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. And even just working at Aintree Group, like we've always had the opportunity and to work on many different clients and do different things, different advisory work. And like I said, learnt a lot of different soft skills. And it just hasn't been, I guess, a cookie cutter kind of job where, you might go to H&R Block and just work on individual tax returns for 4 years and you wouldn't really learn much. I've learnt a lot. And like you said, and I think we said in our meeting when I resigned, that I have a really good base. So very fortunate for that. And I think it'll serve me pretty well, for sure.
Yeah. So we'll finish off in a minute because we're going to waffle on and cry and stuff like that. What are you going to miss the most?
Ooh,
if you say Shane and I, then you get extra bonus pay when you leave.
Andrea and Shane. Definitely the people, all the friends I've made. Like I said, I'm dreading the last day a lot. I think the waterworks will come out. Hopefully from others as well. But I keep... Yeah,
Is there anyone who you think will cry really?
Guarantee there's one person.
No, I'm not going to be here that day. No.
Look, there's probably a couple that I've maybe never seen cry. And maybe, not even for me, but it'd just be cool to see them cry,
Maybe we should take like a little bet on the side. Joseph, if you're listening.
No, there's, I guess some people that don't really get emotional often, but
we'll put some chili flakes or something in his water, so at least we might get
maybe. But definitely just the people for sure. And I think I won't probably know myself. I don't know, maybe the week after I'll come in and visit everyone because I just feel like I have to. I might. I'll still feel part of it. Obviously, we'll still feel part of the family.
You'll be saying to Laura, can I drop you off at work today?
Probably, honestly. I'll come and chat to Kane. We'll talk about our
you need to make an appointment.
Being nerds together.
Now we've got another business unit starting and it's vlog advisory services.
Yeah, you might have to keep me out. I'll probably just come and annoy everyone. But
we'll just charge you.
We'll
just charge you for it.
Definitely the people. Just the culture we've created, and even some of the new. I don't want to say newbies, but the ones that have only been here a year or 6 months. I've started to develop connections with them, and I'd say lifelong friendships. Great, a lot of people. And that's what I keep telling myself, that you're not dying, you're not leaving, you're not absolutely falling off the face of the earth. You will be able to see these people again and keep texting them, messaging, sending photos and stuff. So
I think it's important to understand as well, and for the people who are listening to recognise that we do actually have a long list of people who have been with Aintree Group in the past and who come back for special events and stuff like that. And we make Chelsea in particular makes an active effort to keep people involved where they have wanted to be involved, and people always come back to us as well. Not talking about anyone in particular, but Lorena, who cannot stay away, and maybe it'll be the same for you, Dan, that you'll
I think it will
go out for a year and a half, and then we'll get a phone call from Dan saying, "Can I come in and have a chat?" And
no, I don't think we will.
No, I don't think
so either. I think he'll find his feet and he'll he'll be where he needs to be.
There's always a desk here for you though, Dan, even if it's your desk and you're doing your own thing. There is actually a desk that you could use if you want to get out of the house and come and sit here in hot desk. So
flexible working space, maybe
yeah,
that could be in your
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's always here. We've got plenty of desks and plenty of spaces that you can have your clients come in and you can record a podcast here.
Yeah,
we've
for
got
sure.
Kane, and Kane can help you set up a new podcast.
we can do the
We're developing.
Sorry, Kane. I'm
the
just
vlog
like
editing,
full-time job for Kane going forward. He's not going to be able to do
So
his exciting.
this is turning into a business planning session.
Yeah. That's okay. It's always good to do business planning.
Always.
We are going to miss you. There is nothing else I can say.
Yeah, I know the waterworks will probably start for both of us, but no, I'll definitely miss Aintree Group and yourselves a lot. I'll miss everything I've learnt. And just rocking up to work every day and seeing the people that have become family. So I better stop as well before I start crying.
Exactly.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for joining us today.
And thank you for everything too.
We will have you come back on
Sounds good.
in maybe towards the end of the year so that you can let us know how the travels have gone and we can
if I'm back. But
otherwise we'll
never
do
know.
we can set you up on the
virtually.
big screen and get you in virtually. We're starting that in the podcast this year, doing some virtual stuff. So really excited for what is ahead for you. It is we hate the word journey. We don't like to use it a lot. I've used it a bit today. But it's been really a great pleasure to be part of this. And now I'm gonna cry.
Thank you.
So you'll have to do the closeout chain because I can't.
And I don't need to wish you all the best because I know what
you.
what you're going to do is going to be fulfilling and you're going to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Yeah, so I want to congratulate you on your time at Aintree Group and look forward to the next part of the journey. There you go. I'm going to say next part of the journey. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. The pleasure has definitely been mine. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, everyone who's been listening in today to Q&A with S&A. Thanks to Dan for coming in, and stay tuned for more conversations. Stay tuned for more videos where you get to see me cry. That is always a highlight. I know
I see it plenty of
times. It happens pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So, but it's always fun, and I love doing the podcast and have loved having a chat today, Dan, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.